Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on MTV Sports. My name is Punshani Evidisingha. Let's start off with a look at your headlines. Bribery Commission files legal action against the former secretary to the Ministry of Petroleum Industries and another officer for importing substandard fuel. Ceylon Petroleum Corporation says Sapukaskanda refinery has crude oil stocks for only 2 days. US President Barack Obama and Republican candidate Mitt Romney clash in third and final debate. Moving on to local news, the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption has filed legal action against the former secretary to the Ministry of Petroleum Industries, Titus Jayawardena, and another officer. The case was filed at the Colombo Magistrates Court following investigations into the importing of substandard fuel to the country. It was revealed during investigations that during the period from 3rd of May 2011 to 18th of May 2012, these two individuals had imported 163,287 barrels of substandard fuel with the aim of causing a loss to the government. Thereby, the Bribery Commission filed action against Titus Jayawardena and the acting commercial manager of Sepetco, Gamage Mudiyansilage Udita Vimalanath Doloswala. Colombo Chief Magistrate Rashmi Singapuli ordered the two officers to appear before court on the 22nd of January 2013. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation says that even though operations at the Sapukaskanda oil refinery may come to a standstill, there will not be a shortage of fuel in the country. Its managing director Susantha Silva said that they could not obtain the necessary crude oil due to problems in the world market. He noted that Sri Lanka obtains most of its crude oil requirement from Iran, which has been slapped with economic sanctions. The managing director of Sepetco noted that there is sufficient fuel in the country and consumers need not fear a shortage. Meanwhile, the managing director of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, Susantha Silva, stated that crude oil stocks required for the Sapukaskanda refinery were adequate only for 2 more days. Taking a look at the weather situation now, a landslide threat has been identified in several areas in the Galle district following heavy showers experienced in the past few days. Our correspondent stated that landslides had been reported from several areas last night.
2 houses were damaged in a landslide which occurred in the Hindumina area in Galle. Meanwhile, 2 houses in the Gigummadu area coming under the Nellore Divisional Secretariat have also been damaged following the heavy rains experienced yesterday. Meanwhile, the body of the child who was missing after an earth embankment collapse on a house in the Alavela area in Nittumba yesterday was found early this morning. The child's mother, who was injured in the incident, was admitted to the Vatupettiwala hospital. 2.5-year-old Achintya Divyankani died in the incident. Meanwhile, lowlands in several areas including Panangala, Udugama and Mathalagala in Galle have been inundated with the Ginganga overflowing. The estuary of the Ginganga has been broadened yesterday to ease the flooding.
Kegal Provincial High Court Judge Menaka Vijayasundara sentenced an individual found guilty of conspiring to assassinate former Army Commander Sarath Fonseca to 35 years of rigorous imprisonment this morning. The accused was found guilty on all 4 charges filed against him. The convicted individual had conspired to assassinate Fonseca between the 1st of July 2005 and the 30th of June 2006. The accused was charged with bringing an LTTE cadre named Manchula to Rambukkana to carry out the assassination, providing her with shelter, assisting her in renting a house, and failing to notify the police of her presence and intentions. Still in local news, a group of Sri Lankans who were deported from Britain will arrive in the country tomorrow. The Controller General of Immigration and Emigration, Chulananda Pereira, stated that the group consists of 64 individuals. The Ministry of External Affairs stated that the group of deportees had been illegally residing in Britain, violating immigration laws. The Controller General of Immigration and Emigration, Chulananda Pereira, stated that the group will arrive on board a special flight. A group of British officials will accompany the group. The Department of Archaeology has decided to introduce new laws to regulate World Heritage Sites in Sri Lanka. Singharaja, Knuckles Forest Reserve, Dutch Fortress in Galle, Sigiriya and Dambulla Rajamaha Vihara, as well as cities such as Polonnaruwa, Anuradhapura and Kandy have been named as World Heritage Sites. The Director General of Archaeology, Senrat Dissanayake, stated that new amendments will be brought into the Archaeological Act in order to serve this purpose. Through this, funds will be allocated to conserve and protect World Heritage Sites. Minister of Youth Affairs and Skills Development Dallas Alahaperuwa notes that although the unemployment rate is low, unemployment in the workforce age group is extremely high. The minister revealed this at the unveiling of the first Green University proposed by the NSBM organization.
It is not a secret that according to the central bank report, the unemployment rate is just 6%. Despite this fact, if we break down the workforce into age groups and educational levels, it is at an extremely low rate. But the employment rate of students who have passed O-levels is 17%, and the unemployment rate of degree holders and students who have passed advanced levels examinations is 21%.
විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ මූලික සුදුසුකම් සහිතව උසස් පෙළ සමතුන්ගේ විරකියාවේ ප්‍රතිශතය 21%.
Two individuals died in an accident which occurred at an unprotected railway crossing in Habaraduwa this morning. Police stated that the accident had occurred when a motorbike collided with the Galukumari train travelling from Matara to Colombo.
The accident occurred at around 7:30 this morning at the railway crossing near the fertilizer storage facility in Habaraduwa. The two individuals who were travelling on the motorbike died in the incident. Area residents stated that this unprotected railway crossing has claimed many lives. The deceased are 20-year-old H. Nishanta from the Udugam area in Galle and Sampath Kumara, a resident of Vellavaya. Our correspondent stated that the victims were employed at the Koggala Investment Promotion Zone.
In news from the US election, in the third and final debate of the 2012 US presidential election campaign, which concluded early this morning Sri Lankan time, US President Barack Obama and Republican candidate Governor Mitt Romney clashed on foreign policy issues. Let's take a look at some excerpts from the debate.
No applause, no reaction of any kind except right now when we welcome President Barack Obama and Governor Mitt Romney.
President Obama more than made up for his lackluster performance in the first debate by driving home his arguments in classic style, and at times even had Governor Romney agreeing with and congratulating him.
I think from the very beginning, one of the challenges we've had with Iran is that they have looked at this administration and felt that the administration was not as strong as it needed to be. I think they saw weakness where they had expected to find American strength. And I say that because from the very beginning, the president in his campaign some 4 years ago said he'd meet with all the world's worst actors. In his first year, he'd sit down with Chavez and Kim Jong-il, with Castro, and with President Ahmadinejad of Iran.
When it comes to tightening sanctions, look, as I said before, we've put in the toughest, most crippling sanctions ever. And the fact is, while we were coordinating an international coalition to make sure these sanctions were effective, you were still invested in a Chinese state oil company that was doing business with the Iranian oil sector.
We're going to have to recognize that we have to do as the president's done. I congratulate him on taking out Osama bin Laden and going after the leadership in Al-Qaeda. But we can't kill our way out of this mess.
Well, my first job as Commander-in-Chief, Bob, is to keep the American people safe. And that's what we've done over the last 4 years. We ended the war in Iraq, refocused our attention on those who actually killed us on 9/11. And as a consequence, Al-Qaeda's core leadership has been decimated.
The two politicians also clashed on the issue of increased defense spending.
Governor Romney's called for $5 trillion of tax cuts that he says he's going to pay for. by closing deductions. Now, the math doesn't work, but he continues to claim that he's going to do it. He then wants to spend another $2 trillion on military spending that our military is not asking for.
Our Navy is older, our Navy is smaller now than any time since 1917. The Navy said they needed 313 ships to carry out their mission. We're now down to 285. We're headed down to the low 200s if we go through with sequestration. That's unacceptable to me.
First of all, the sequester is not something that I proposed. It's something that Congress has proposed. It will not happen. The budget that we're talking about is not reducing our military spending. It's maintaining it. But I think Governor Romney maybe hasn't spent enough time looking at how our military works. You mentioned the Navy, for example, and that we have fewer ships than we did in 1916. Well, Governor, we also have fewer horses and bayonets because the nature of our military has changed. We have these things called aircraft carriers where planes land on them.
And News First Shamir Rasuldeen, who has been following the U.S. presidential election trail closely from New York, joins us now over the phone for an overview of the final debate.
The last U.S. presidential debate in 2012 focused on foreign policy issues that provide the biggest challenges to U.S. foreign policy during the next presidential term of office. Now, these issues included Syria, Iran, Israel, China, Libya, and even Afghanistan. Foreign policy matters are always closely linked with national security in any discussion of U.S. international affairs, and the differences between the candidates on foreign policy issues are just as important as the differences in their approaches to domestic issues. U.S. President Barack Obama was very assertive on his remarks right from the start during the third and final debate. According to analysts, Republican Mitt Romney was contradicting his remarks on issues in Afghanistan. Closely being able to monitor the debates in September, it was evident that during the vice presidential debate, Republican Paul Ryan, who said that they would consider a complete withdrawal of U.S. troops in Afghanistan in 2014, was put down by Romney completely. Romney said that he supported U.S. President Obama's decision to withdraw troops by 2014. Many here in New York said that Obama was on top of the debates and made his point across very well. Now, according to New Yorkers, all Romney did during the debate was agreeing with President Obama and not bringing out the position of the Romney camp. Now, following the three debates, the Democratic President Barack Obama still appears to have the upper hand in the state-by-state fight to cobble together the 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency in the November 6th election. News First, of course, will keep a close watch and report to you as and when developments do unfold. I'm Shamir Rasuldeen reporting for News First from New York, USA.
And that's the end of our lunchtime news today. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a pleasant afternoon.